It's elegant, it's polished, it's calculated like an Excel spreadsheet, but you can't drive a spreadsheet. And this is where the Audi begins to fall apart a little bit.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to 190 Ethan. I'm Ethan, and in today's episode, we are featuring the Audi A5 Convertible. Let's get right into the generations. The first generation was introduced in 2007 as just a coupe, and that's when the A5 really came out, and it was supposed to fill the gap between the small, compact A4 and the larger A6. It was released as a coupe with 4-cylinder and 6-cylinder options, and then they brought out the convertible version, which is what we'll be focused on today, in 2009. Now, back in this era, it was very generic styling, very Audi, not too sporty, not too luxurious, just Volkswagen, right? In the A5 convertible, you could get either a 2-liter 4-cylinder or a 3.2-liter V6, and you could buy the S5 convertible, which for some reason the convertible had a supercharged V6, whereas the S5 coupe kept that big V8. It also was available with Audi Quattro all-wheel drive system, and in a convertible it makes a lot of sense, so you can plow through snow and catch snowflakes on your tongue while doing so. It also had available air scarf, which is a small vent that kind of blows hot air on the back of your neck. So when you're catching those snowflakes, your body can remain warm, even though your car doesn't have a top. The second generation was released in 2017, and it was an all-new platform for the A5 convertible. It got a little bit more aggressive styling, although in my opinion, this is what maybe people are referring to when they say microaggressions. It got Audi's new MMI system, which is the infotainment screen and the digital gauge cluster. And MMI actually stands for Making Mad Individuals, because the UI is honestly not great, but we'll talk about that later. It also was available as an S-Line or a non-S-Line, which if you look at these pictures on the screen, the top left picture shows the front of the S-Line, and the bottom left picture shows the non-S-Line. So yeah, super different, as you can see. The legacy with Quattro all-wheel drive really kind of influences its design. As you can notice, it has those bold wheel arches and kind of this four-corner design that's supposed to show that all-wheel drive grip to the road. And overall, it's a handsome-looking car. That's really the whole story to tell with the A5. There was just 2 generations, and there's a new generation coming soon, but there's not a whole lot of details yet, so I didn't include it here. The one we'll be driving today is a 2024 with the 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder. And yeah, I mean, it was released to replace the A4 convertible, which was a little bit too small and not luxurious enough. And it was supposed to compete with the Mercedes CLK and the BMW 3 Series convertibles, and just kind of find that middle void between the more luxurious Mercedes, the more sporty BMW, and I think it fits that gap well. It leads to a bit of a confused design ethos of like, am I sporty? Am I luxurious? But we'll talk more about that later. In fact, why don't we go down to the garage and take a closer look at it? All right, everyone, time for our walk around of the Audi A5 convertible. You can see we have the top down here, so we're going to take a look at the rear seats. You can see pretty much no leg room at all, a couple of cup holders in the middle, and you actually have your own climate adjustment and the 12-volt power back there. Now moving up into the front seat, you can see the door actually has 4 window switches because there are little back windows that you can put up and down. You get the little Audi illumination on the bottom. Also, this is an S-Line, so the S is illuminated on the door sill. You have power adjustable seats and lumbar support. The seats are actually made of very nice leather and are very comfortable to sit in. You can see this little vent right here on the back of the seat is actually for warm air. So on a cooler night, that will blow warm air down the back of your neck and keep you surprisingly warm, actually, for a convertible. You'd be surprised. Now, jumping inside, you can see fully digital gauge cluster, and then we have the infotainment screen, which is a touch screen. There's no control down here like you see in a lot of other luxury vehicles. It's all touchscreen through there. Apple CarPlay available. Climate control vents. A couple of controls down here like your drive select, your auto start and stop, your traction control off, parking sensors, and so forth. Moving down to the gear shifter, it's kind of a simple operation. You push this button on the side, forward is reverse, back is drive, and then you press the little P for park. This is actually your volume knob way down here, so you do have a knob, but it's kind of down and off to the side. That's your controller for the top. The center console is actually interesting because there's kind of this opening here, and the console itself is just like this lid, and then you have a bunch of stuff in there. But the nice thing about this is you can actually adjust it. So if you want it to stop there, it will stop there, or you can adjust it higher, it'll stop there. Really nice touch. I actually like that a lot. Moving on to the climate vents, because this is kind of interesting to see. You can see it looks like they go all the way across the front of this car, but this section in here is actually not a climate vent. It just looks like a climate vent to match the climate vents, because climate vents, I don't know, something about climate vents. I'm sure if I spoke German, I'd understand. Moving over to the left here, you have your Audi cruise control, and you have some buttons on your steering wheel as well as paddles to pretend like you're shifting for real, and your headlight situation. That's pretty much it. This car is also equipped with a Bang & Olufsen sound system, and it's interesting because it's designed specifically for convertibles. So you see you have two speakers down here. You also have two speakers in the A-pillar here, which is supposed to make the sound quality a little bit better when you have the roof down. You know, roof up or roof down in this car, not impressed. The Bose system that is in my Yukon is much more impressive than the Bang & Olufsen in here. Really, the speakers aren't too bad. It's just kind of lacking in bass because I don't believe there's a subwoofer anywhere. All right, that's a walk around. Let's get out on the road and drive it.
All right, here we are driving the A5 convertible. Now, on paper, the Audi looks great. 2-liter inline 4-cylinder, turbocharged, 261 horsepower, 273 pound-feet of torque. That is enough to pull its slightly chunky body to 60 miles an hour in about 5.6 seconds, which is fine. It also has all-wheel drive, which is handy in rain and useful in snow and nearly mythical among convertibles. It also sips fuel like a polite dinner guest. 24 miles per gallon city, 33 highway. And yes, it technically has rear seats, but the back is more for legless hobbits or very obedient luggage. And the interior is nice. Leather everywhere, digital gauges, big screen, a soft top that can go down in about 13 seconds up to 30 miles per hour for those times when the sun shows up unannounced. It's elegant, it's polished, it's calculated like an Excel spreadsheet, but you can't drive a spreadsheet. And this is where the Audi begins to fall apart a little bit. You see, the A5 convertible is corporate. It's a mid-level manager in a Hugo Boss suit. It checks all the boxes, says all the right things, and inspires about as much emotion as a quarterly earnings report. If you flick it into dynamic drive, which is the sportiest of its personalities, it's still just about as thrilling as a lukewarm decaf latte. It corners, sure, but the road feel is distant and the steering kind of numb. It's like flirting with someone over email. And in the cold, cruel world of acceleration, it's simply outgunned. Believe it or not, a V6 Camry would beat this in a straight line. A 2.7-liter F-150 pickup truck that weighs 6,000 pounds would beat this in a straight line. So you might be saying to yourself, Ethan, it's not sport, it's luxury. But there's some cracks as well. The soft top, while insulated, still lets a chorus of wind and tire noise in. The suspension is more meh than magic carpet. You kind of find yourself wanting for something more. More serenity or more savagery, just something to stir the senses. And now, about that vaunted German technology. Remember, Vorsprung durch Technik, progress through technology. Well, at a standstill in a dealership lot, the infotainment system might impress. Screens galore, features for days, but once you're actually on the road, things fall apart a bit. Take a look at what I mean. All right, now we've stopped here in the A5 convertible. Now listen, I work in tech. I build dashboards, so I obsess over user interfaces. And Audi's UX is, quite frankly, U execution. They've taken away physical buttons and replaced them with screens that you have to reach for and poke at and scroll through, all while traveling at highway speeds. Want to change a setting? Good luck. When you're driving, the screen will lock you out of a lot of settings. Do you prefer a physical knob? Too bad. Even the things they did keep as buttons are not right. There's no sync for the climate control, so if you want to adjust your temperature, you have to do it on both sides every time. The heated seat button doesn't even activate your heated seat. It opens another menu, which you then have to dial through like it's the combination to your grandma's safe. And when you park the car and return, it stays on. So congratulations, you've just slow roasted your backside in mid-July. Then there's the door sill, which I swear was designed by someone with a vendetta against ankles. I got in and out of this car for one day, coming out looking like I was assaulted by a rogue kickboxer. Though, once you're finally seated, bruised and breathless, it has a feature that will deliver your seatbelt to you. And so, that brings us here. This isn't a bad car, far from it. It's well made, it's handsome, it's competent, and in the right light, even charming. It's a car that looks great on paper to impress in PowerPoint presentations. But behind the wheel, it's soulless. Everything about it feels filtered through committees and brand guidelines and people wearing lanyards using words like synergy. It's safe, it's predictable. It won't bother the neighbors or wake the dog. It's the automotive equivalent of the company president. It's polished, it's rehearsed, it's fluent in buzzwords. Once upon a time, it probably had a fire in its belly and big ideas, but now it's just trying to make it to the next earnings call without upsetting the board. But driving is about feeling something. And the A5 convertible, for all of its specs and features, just doesn't stir the soul. Because the A5 convertible isn't a love letter to driving, it's a well-written memo. It's clear, it's well-written, it's impressive in its formatting. But the thing about a memo is it's ultimately forgettable.